What's up, guys? Elvis back here again with another video. In this video, well, after thinking a while about what should the other video be about, and thinking about how my design journey started back when, especially on the first year of designing, what things confused me, what things I kind of knew but still were not so clear about. I thought about why not talk about how to set up the file settings properly when starting a project. A lot of designers hit me up asking me what settings should they set up the file, right? Because you have digital print, you have digital design, and you have print design, two different types of designs, and the settings for each are not the same. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the importance of each, the differences between print and web, and what's a good DPI to use if you're going to design say a banner design for print, or if you're going to design a banner design for digital use only. And we're also going to talk about the color mode and what color mode you should be using based on how the graphic that you're creating is going to be utilized. Now we're going to be using a banner as an example for this, and we're going to think about if the banner is only going to be used for print, if the banner is only going to use for web, or if the banner is going to use for both, and what I do, how I would approach a project if I were to have a project like this, and how I would set up the file settings. We're gonna open Photoshop. Right here I already have Photoshop open, and you want to open a new work, right? So I'll open a new document. Now you have this you have here all the pre-made templates, or pre-made settings, I guess you can call them. I don't use any of them. I personally don't use any of them because I know what works for me, and I know, like, I already know what works for me, so I don't really use any of these. But I mean, you guys can mess around with them. You do need Photoshop 2018, Photoshop Cloud 2018. So if you have like 2016, it won't have this. So make sure that you pay for Photoshop if you're not paying for it, in order to get this updated version. But yeah, so back to the banner design. So when I'm going to create a banner design, let's say for Instagram, right? Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. The client tells me I want it to be a square. I'm going to use it for Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. To give me the information, I'm like, okay, I go over everything, I organize it, and once it's all organized, I open this new document. Now with the settings, for width, for Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, I usually do 1500, and height 1500 in pixels. Orientation, it doesn't really matter because it's gonna be a square. I like to do it a square because the way the banner designs are displayed on Facebook, Twitter, are squares. I know on Instagram you can do rectangle shapes, but for me, I personally think squares are more effective, because that's the global dimensions that all the other sites use. So yeah, so I do 1500 by 1500. Now another thing is that you don't want to make it like 800 by 800, because one, like for example Facebook, they love compression, they love to compress images. So what I do is that in order to make up for the compression that they do, I make it bigger, and then when I export it for web. But making it bigger and exporting it the way I export it, it allows the image to stay high quality, which helps a ton. And I mean, people, like I said, like people hit me up asking me, what do I do to make things look high quality? This is what I do. I make them big, and I make sure I export them for web. So yeah, so I do 1500 by 1500 pixels. Now resolution, deep, which would be the DPI, I do 72. If your design is gonna be just digital, no print, just strictly digital, which is something that you gotta ask your client. This is something that I ask them whenever they want a single cover, a mixtape cover, album cover, banner design, a flyer design. I ask them, are you going to use this on both digital and print, or are you going to use this on just digital? If they say only digital, 72 is the way to go. Now, if they say digital and print, what you want to do is that you might want to do two files, right? One for digital and one for print. And the reason why is because for digital, you don't have to be really worried about margins and where the machine is gonna cut the paper and all that. Whereas in print, you have to worry about that. You have to worry about setting up the file in a way that that all your work is inside the safe zone, where the machine that is gonna cut the flyer design when it's printed won't cut on the text. So if it's for print, you want to do 72. If it's for print, you want to do 300. You want to do 300 resolution, 300. If it's for digital use, you want to do 72. And remember, I personally like to create two PSD files, one for print and one for digital, if the customer is gonna use the design for both. And then what I do is that I start working with the digital, and then I always keep in mind that it's going to be printed, and I always keep in mind that everything that I use needs to be high quality, because when you print something, an image that is, let's say, 500 pixels by 500 pixels would work okay on a digital flyer, right? Now for print, that's a whole different thing. You need bigger quality images. So when I design for both print and digital, I ask the client to please send me images that are nice quality and big, because they need to look good in print. They need to look good when the design is printed, and the only way to do that is to make sure that you use high quality images on the print file. But yeah, so back to this. So you do 72 for the digital, you do 300 for the print. Now color mode. If this is a digital project, you want to do RGB. You want to do RGB. That's for digital, because that's the way the monitors display the picture in red, green, and blue. They use three colors. Now, if it's gonna be for print, you want to change the color mode to CMYK. This is very important, because the way designs are printed on printers is different than the way the image is displayed on. It's different how monitors work. Think about it this way: when you print a design, you don't have the backlight of the monitor. It's just the paper and the ink. That's it. The only light source that the print design is gonna have is gonna come from either a light bulb or the sun. That's it. Like, there's no light bulb behind the print flyer to make the colors pop like how they pop on a monitor. So you want to make sure that you select the correct color mode. So if it's for digital, you want to use RGB. If it's for print, you want to use CMYK. Don't be going around using RGB for print designs, because that's a problem. That's a no. And then this, you want to leave 8-bit. I use always 8-bit. And then background content, I make it white. And then I do create. And yeah, and then this is pretty much how I start the project. And then from here, I design the flyer. If it's for print, I design the flyer using the print requirements that the printer asked me to take into, to make sure I apply to the project when I'm creating the project. Like I said, like guidelines to make sure that the machine won't cut the design. Now, if you want to change your canvas settings, you go to image and you go to image size, and right here you can change it. So let's say you're like, oh, okay, yeah, it's gonna be for print, you change it to 300. Now I don't like doing this. What I like doing is I like doing 2 projects because for example, let's say you have this element right here, right? Let's say we'll pull an icon. Let's say you have this icon right here, right? For print, the icon cannot be right here because the cutting machine is gonna cut way too close to it and it might chop off a part of an apple. Now with digital design, you don't have to worry about that because there's nothing cutting the digital banner. If it meets the well, if you don't crop it online as well, because like as you know, like, or as you should know, when you upload an image to say Facebook, they give you the option to crop it. Don't crop the design, just upload it as the way you designed it in Photoshop. But yeah, you probably should already know that. So yeah, so with digital, you can place the apple here. With print, you gotta place it. You would place it more towards the inner part of the canvas, just so that when the machine cuts, it won't cut it. So, and then also the colors with RGB, the colors are bright. With CMYK, if you preview the design on a computer, the colors are kind of dull, and that's because the computer is trying to show you how the design would look without the backlight source there. So I mean, there's no backlight, colors are not as bright. So this is how I set up my project settings before I actually start working on either a digital or print. This is very important, and this is something that is small, and every designer needs to know this, because this is one of the how would I say this? This is one of the core things that matter a ton because you can have a really cool design, but if it doesn't have the correct settings, you know, it's no good. So you want to make sure that you use the correct settings. I always keep in mind 72 dpi for print, for digital, 300 dpi for print, RGB for digital, CMYK for print. So as long as you use all that, you should be good. Hopefully everyone stays designing nice, creative, super dope designs. And yeah, man, thanks for tuning in. So yeah, if you like the video, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. If you have any specific type of topics that you would like to cover, that you would like me to cover, just let me know and I'll take care of them for you. I'll like I said, I'm gonna be dropping a video every Wednesday from now on. So yeah, hopefully you guys like, and until the next.